here at LARRS. Today I'm going to be making chop for all of the birds, and I wanted to show you the array of things that I'm going to be putting into my chop. Now, a couple of different things first. When you're looking for chop, especially if you're going to freeze it like we do, you want to try to find the driest vegetables that you can get. So I go with a lot of kale, I go with a lot of herbs, and I go with broccoli and cauliflower because they're very low moisture foods. The problem is that if the food has way too much moisture when you freeze it, then when you take it out of the freezer and you thaw the whole thing so that you can use it, it sometimes turns to mush, and that's totally not what you want. So I'm just going to run over a short list of what we have in front of us here. I have regular green kale, purple kale, I have some raspberries I'm going to add. I do have some cauliflower in front there. I don't know if you guys can see. I have a lot of different colored bell peppers. Birds are extremely attracted to all sorts of different colors, so you definitely want to give them a variety. I have parsley, cilantro, broccoli. I do have some green beans. Probably not going to use all of these in the chop. I want to kind of keep that a little bit lower. And I have two huge sweet potatoes that I'm going to be using. So I am totally not used to cooking sweet potatoes that are about the size of my forearm. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but we'll get her done. I have carrots as well. I have lentils that I'm going to be cooking up. Quick note on the lentils, when you're pouring the lentils into your measuring cup to get them ready to put in your pan and cook, you do want to go slow because lentil stones exist. And the last thing that you want is for your bird to accidentally ingest a stone into their crop because it can cause all sorts of problems for them. I have lots of quinoa over there. I'm going to see what I can use. I have flax meal. That will help to take some of the moisture out for some of the more moist things that I'm adding, like the raspberries and the bell peppers and somewhat to the carrots. Chia seeds right here. I do have some crushed up walnuts that I'm going to be adding as well. I always like to add a little bit of almond flour because it entices the bird to eat the chop. And then, seasonings. I have cinnamon. I love to add cinnamon in when I'm making the chop, as well as cayenne powder. Both of those things are really, really good for birds, especially if you've got an older bird that maybe has like some arthritis issues, things like that. That can help to calm that down. So I will be back and show you guys how the progress is going. I'm going to break out my food chopper while all of the quinoa and lentils are cooking, and then we'll move on to the mixing stages. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to some awesome Girl Scouts who donated this massive, huge contraption here to help us do our chop. I was using my teeny tiny little chopper from a while ago that's on its last leg. You would start the thing up and it'd go, you know. This thing has more gadgets and gizmos than a Swiss Army knife. So I'm really looking forward to using this. Alright guys, so while I was downstairs trying to gather up the biggest bowls that I could find, I found a couple of other things that I'm going to add into this chop. I have some KT bird greens. This is a natural blend of alfalfa, parsley, kale, chia seeds, and sweet potatoes. Most of which I'm already going to be putting into the chop. But again, it's important to make sure that your chop is as dry as possible when you go to put it into the freezer. Something else that I'm going to be adding just for a little bit of flavor is some unsweetened coconut flakes. Birds are going to love this. Okay, so my lentils are all done. I do want them to cool before I start adding the vegetables though. I don't want any chance of the vegetables cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divvy up my lentils here into the 4 large dishes that I have. So here's a tip about cooking your sweet potatoes. When you're cooking your sweet potato, you want to make sure that you poke holes all over the place with a fork. Now you have one of two choices. You can cook it in the microwave or you can cook it in the oven. With this thing being as big around as my forearm, there's no way I'm going to stick it in the oven. It'll probably be cooking for an hour and a half. So I'm going to use the microwave and we'll see how fast I can get these guys cooked through. All right, guys, so that you know, a potato, sweet potato, as big around as your forearm or bigger, takes 18 minutes to cook in the microwave. This thing is going to be piping hot when I cut into it. But it is nice and soft on the inside. I am putting zero effort into this. What I want to do is give this bugger a chance to really cool down before I add it in. So I am going to be setting this up in the refrigerator so that it can fully cool before I add it to the chop. And you want everything room temperature when you're adding it to the chop. You do not want anything hot or boiling, anything that's going to cook any of this nice fresh stuff that you're going to stick in your chop. All right, my quinoa is finally done. I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the lentils because I want this to cool down. So I'm going to be putting this equally-ish into every single one of my bowls that I have going on here. So we're going to let these cool down, and next up we're going to get started on the vegetables. Okay, so the second sweet potato is done cooking, and now it is time to start chopping some vegetables. So we're going to get this going here. I'm kind of scared. This thing is huge and it's awesome, and I'm kind of scared, but here we go. Why you want to do chop in a food processor is because you don't want to have the animals be able to dig and pick around and pick out what they like and what they don't like. You want them to eat all of that really good stuff. Holy carrots, Batman. So as you can see, all of the greens are gone. Everything is all chopped up and it looks like this in all of these bowls. If you have a couple of extra pieces that look like this, that are kind of long, that didn't get processed by the food processor, not a big deal. Now we're going to add our raspberries, sweet potato, coconut, and then all of our nuts, flaxseed and chia seed. All right, guys, I just wanted to zoom in on this bowl for you. We have sweet potato and raspberry sitting on top, some of the safflower seed, almond meal, cinnamon, and cayenne. Some of my favorites, making this stuff smell really good. There's some walnuts in there that you can see. We've got our coconut flakes in there, and those are sitting all on top of what I showed you guys earlier, which is all that fun stuff that we chopped up. So this is the finished chop. We have it all in bags and we've frozen it, and I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like. Now this whole process took us about 6.5 hours, so it's a very big task if you're going to do a bunch of chop. You might have a small flock, a large flock. If you have a smaller flock, you can do this in smaller batches. If you have a large flock, you can just do it right up. And I recommend measuring how much you put into each bag so that it's easy for you to defrost, and then it'll last a whole week. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out via our Facebook page or email, and we can give you some extra pointers on doing chop. I do mix it up a little bit every time that I do chop, but I wanted to give you guys a good idea of one of the ways that we feed the birds is a really healthy way, really, really good for them. Have a great day.